Hello and welcome to Garden Feast 2021. I'm Mayor London Breed, and it is my pleasure to kick off this annual tradition in support of the San Francisco Botanical Garden. Now more than ever, people, especially children, need places like the garden. I am so proud of the work that the Rec and Park staff has done to ensure this space has stayed open over the past year. From the free Bean Sprouts family days to summer camps and after-school programs, and providing free tickets for low-income families, I want to express my heartfelt thanks and deep appreciation to the hundreds of volunteers and thousands of members who help make our botanical garden such a special place. Thank you for your continued support during these tough times. Enjoy the program, and we hope to see you at the garden soon.
Thank you. Make the garden thrive. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Linder, and I'm the Executive Director of the San Francisco Botanical Garden. And I'd like to add my thanks to all our staff, volunteers, members, board members who contribute their time and resources and invest in the garden every day. I also want to thank tonight's sponsors, especially our champion level sponsors, Board Chair Del Maxwell and her husband, Pat Hanrahan. Thank you to our event co-chairs, Carla McKay and Sarah Ryan, and the entire event committee. We have over 900 people registered for this event this evening, thanks to your efforts. And now I'd like to introduce our event producer and auctioneer, Keith Mclean.
Stephanie, great to see you. How are you?
Doing well. A beautiful day here at the garden.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Stephanie, great to see you. And good evening, everyone. And welcome to Garden Fest 2021, supporting the international treasure that is the San Francisco Botanical Garden. My name is Keith Mclean, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you tonight, and thrilled to be back here with the garden to serve as your fundraising facilitator for the evening. And while I know we're all looking forward to being back in the room together, I'm so glad you decided to join us virtually and you're able to be here with us tonight. In just a few minutes here, we've got a great program. You're going to experience a few of our favorite spots right here at the garden. Then you'll learn more than you ever thought possible from our keynote speaker, who's a national leader in botanic garden plant conservation and collections. And then you'll revel in a world-class, never-before-seen musical performance shot right here at the garden as well. And then we're going to conduct a very meaningful appeal and encourage everyone here to be as generous as they can be to support the garden's invaluable, life-changing youth education programming. Now, my friends, donating couldn't be easier. In the past, maybe you've done virtual events with your phones and things like that. We don't need any of that here tonight. It's so easy. We're using what we call a single screen solution, which is so simple. And all you need to do when you want to donate is just click the green button on your left. You'll see that there. It couldn't be any simpler. So during our upcoming Youth Education Fund and Need Pledge, please feel free to be generous. You'll see the green donate button if you want to donate. You'll also see a black bid more or donate more button there if you want to donate more than the amount that I'm asking for, because I'm going to be marching through the various donation levels. So, and then when it's time to pledge, to check out, it's so simple. You'll just have to hit that pledge card, the black and white pledge card, up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. So sit back, grab a cocktail if you're so inclined, and enjoy our program. And now I'll turn it right back over to Stephanie.
Thanks, Keith. So like many of you, I've really missed traveling this past year, but luckily I work at the Botanical Garden where I can see 8,000 kinds of plants from across the globe without ever leaving the city. I especially love the redwoods and the New Zealand section. They're so immersive. You feel like you're transported to a whole new place. Let us know in the chat what some of your favorite areas of the garden or your favorite plant in the garden. But sit back, relax, enjoy curator Ryan Yu's tour of the garden, 55 acres, traveling the world.
San Francisco is in a Mediterranean climate zone with strong oceanic influence that creates our famous summer fog. Our fog helps regulate temperature and provides additional moisture, creating this unique microclimate allowing San Francisco Botanical Garden to grow a vast range of plants from around the world. Let's explore and travel the world in 55 acres. The garden is the premier place to grow cloud forest plants, which are plants growing in montane tropical and subtropical parts of the world. Mesoamerican, Andean, and Southeast Asian cloud forests are well represented here, with plans to grow and refine these even further by expanding the collection concepts to include the Caribbean islands, regions of southeastern Brazil, and the highland flora of tropical Asia and the Pacific Islands. Dr. Dennis Breedlove, botanist and curator at the California Academy of Sciences, first began work on the flora of southern Mexico in the early 1960s and 1970s. He noticed the remarkable similarity in climate of these foggy montane regions to that of San Francisco, and in 1984, the first plantings of the Mesoamerican cloud forest began. What was thought to be an experiment has now set the stage for the garden's premier collection. Several decades in the ground, the garden is taking on the feel of an actual cloud forest, with tropical oaks and pines gaining substantial size and creating a beautiful canopy. Finding their place in the climactic sweet spot between the hot, steamy lowlands and alpine peaks, the cloud forests of the Andes Mountains are a unique and incredibly biodiverse region ranging from Venezuela to northern Argentina. One of our most striking features are the Andean wax palms, which are the tallest species of palm in the world. However, there are many other exciting plants that are closer to eye level, like our species fuchsia collection. With mountains rising above 7,000 feet, the cloud forests of Southeast Asia contain an array of unique species, with many being discovered to this day. These misty highlands are home to tropical oak relatives, a plethora of begonias, and the beloved Virrea rhododendrons. Our Southeast Asian cloud forest collection includes many wild collected species brought to the garden from expeditions by previous collections manager Bien 10. There's always a brightly colored Virrea in bloom to surprise you with each visit, and be amazed by our massive climbing rattan palm. San Francisco's Goldilocks climate allows us to grow a wide variety of mild-temperate as well as subtropical plants too. With high rainfall and cooling oceanic influence, the islands of New Zealand are famous for their beautiful scenery from lush forests to rugged windswept peaks. Due to its isolation, New Zealand boasts a unique flora with an astonishing 80% found nowhere else on Earth. Some of these oldest trees in the garden date back to the 1915 Panama Pacific International Exposition, where plants provided by the New Zealand government later found their place at the garden. Several of these grand specimens are still at the garden today, like our massive New Zealand Christmas tree with its aerial roots and the statuesque totoras. Let's stay in the area and stop over in Australia, an island continent approximately the size of the United States, whose extreme climates and isolation has allowed plants to evolve amazing shapes and adaptations. Though 70% of the continent is semi-arid to arid, Australia also boasts rainforests and a Mediterranean climate like that of California. Our Australian collection showcases a mix of species from both wet and summer dry regions, most having bold and otherworldly shapes. Come see our giant spear lilies in full glory or towering tree ferns. Found at the southernmost limit of the African continent, there is no limit to the amazement that South Africa's flora can offer. Varied climates and topography have contributed to a flora of over 22,000 species and its own floristic province. Our South African collection boasts an incredible array of showy plants that thrive in our cool, foggy climate and well-drained sandy soil. At any time of the year, you can find something in bloom, whether it be drifts of senecios or the massive flowers of proteas. A mirror image to the Pacific coast of North America, Chile stretches a length comparable to that of Alaska to the tip of Baja, and with a variety of climates to match. Chilean plants have long been a part of the garden's history, with specimens dating back before the garden's opening in 1940. Some phenomenal old specimens include the pumo and winterbark tree planted next to the Zellerbach garden. Showcasing plants that have inspired Western gardens for hundreds of years, the Temperate Asia collection is home to iconic species from floristically rich regions of Eastern China, Japan, and Korea. Some of the garden's oldest magnolia specimens can be found here, along with the towering Cryptomeria grove and bamboo forest. Tucked away benches provide tranquil spaces to watch the change of seasons and migrating birds visit the ponds. The namesake of the climate that characterizes the 5 unique regions of the world with warm, dry summers and cool, wet winters. Straddling the continents of Africa, Asia, and Europe, the Mediterranean basin is rich with history and cultures, and so are the plants which reflect the exchange of people and the close proximity of land masses. Come enjoy the blooms and fragrances of the familiar culinary herbs native to the region, and marvel at the incredible blue flowers of our echiums. One last stop before heading home, escape and immerse yourself in the peaceful moon viewing garden. Filled with beautiful plants and stone pagodas from Japan, this garden provides a luxurious Zen feeling away from it all. Traveling provides perspective on our world and ourselves like nothing else, and we've missed it so much. But sometimes the best part of traveling is a renewed appreciation for home. There is no denying the beauty and diversity of California's landscapes, and its flora is the most diverse in the United States at over 6,000 species. A walk in our coast redwood grove will humble you with their size and tranquility, and you can alight your senses in the Arthur L. Menzies Garden of California native plants with colorful wildflowers. I hope you enjoyed our adventure today, and we welcome you to come back often to see this exceptionally diverse, beautiful garden shift day by day, season by season. See you in the garden.
Wow, thank you, Ryan. Wasn't that stunning? The garden is one of my favorite places ever, and I think you can probably guess why, having gone on our little tour there. Hello, I'm Sarah Ryan, event co-chair and garden board member. It is my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker of the evening. Abby Meyer is Executive Director of the U.S. Office of Botanic Gardens Conservation International, BGCI, based at the Huntington Library and Botanical Gardens in San Marino, California. Abby provides resources to build botanic garden plant conservation collections and programs. She also directs and tracks progress towards the targets set by the global and North American botanic garden strategies for plant conservation. Abby received a Bachelor of Science from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and a Master's in Public Horticulture Administration through the Longwood Graduate Program at the University of Delaware and Longwood Gardens. Prior to her work at BGCI, she was a Putnam Research Fellow at the Arnold Arboretum of Harvard University. San Francisco Botanical Garden is proud to be a member of BGCI and play a role in its critical work. As we wrap up our capital campaign and begin construction of our new plant nursery, we are excited to deepen our partnership with Abby and BGCI and expand our conservation efforts. Welcome, Abby, and thank you for your important work and for talking with us tonight about it.
Thank you, Sarah. And I think you'll see in the background, I have a little bit of inspiration about what we'll talk about later in the program, I think. But I'm so happy to, that's a flower piano. This is my version. I'm so happy to be here. And thank you, Sarah. And thank you for to the San Francisco Botanical Garden for inviting me to speak tonight. I'm really thrilled to be here to celebrate botanic gardens. And I'm excited to tell you about the great work going on all around the world to address the plant extinction crisis. So we're all here tonight because we love plants, and we all know that plants are not optional. In fact, plants are the basis for all life on Earth. We also utilize plants in nearly every aspect of our lives for food, medicine, fibers, and fuels. Plants are the backbone of all terrestrial ecosystems, but across the globe, we see that plants are facing tremendous threats in rural and urban areas, mostly due to land conversion, invasive species, and climate change. In the past decade, the human race reached a stunning milestone. We have now completely altered over 50% of land on Earth. And as a result, around 1 in 5 plants are threatened with extinction today. And that ratio is greater in places like California. But plants, sadly, are also not getting adequate conservation support. For example, over half of the species on the US endangered species list are plants, yet threatened plants receive about 5% of federal conservation funding. I wanted to show you a beautiful picture after kind of stunning and beautiful and diverse. You might recognize some. Many of these are wild relatives of food plants. One great reason to keep as many species around as possible is for the future of food security. We have used wild relatives for centuries to adapt food plants facing new pests, diseases, and climate conditions. Outside of the direct benefits of plants to people, I would also argue that plants which have evolved for millions of years on Earth have an inherent right to continue to do so in harmony with humans in the future. As we face this plant extinction crisis, widespread social change is really critical. That's changes in beliefs and behaviors, which trickle up to changes in policies and programs. The good news is that botanic gardens are where people and plants come together. And the more than 3,000 botanic gardens that employ over 60,000 experts around the world are playing an increasingly important role in shaping our future. Botanic gardens are the only sector with a very unique suite of facilities and expertise that's including collections and horticulture, as well as working in the wild, researching plants, and outreach and education about plants to the public. And this makes botanic gardens powerful settings for furthering conservation goals. The combined collections, facilities, knowledge, and public influence among botanic gardens makes our community the world's greatest force for plant conservation. And in celebrating the beauty and importance of plants and biodiversity, botanic gardens around the world collectively engage over 750 million people each year through their inspiring landscapes, their cultural and educational events, their training programs, and also as influencers online and on the ground as they talk about the world around us. Botanic gardens also have the facilities and expertise to grow, document, and study the world's plants. This includes living plants as well as seed banks and tissue collections. And we now know that more than 1/3 of all plant species are maintained in botanic gardens, including at least 40% of threatened species. The botanic garden community includes some of the leading seed banks in the world, which are uniquely focused on wild species, as opposed to cultivated varieties, which crop gene banks focus on. The California Botanic Garden, shown in the lower left, maintains the most extensive seed bank of California native plants in the world, in just a few of the 4 deep freezers shown here. It's amazing how gardens can make a global impact for plant conservation with relatively few resources. In addition to living collections, botanic gardens also conserve plants in the wild by managing and studying natural areas. In the upper image, you can see Denver Botanic Garden staff in their long-term climate change study of alpine plants in the Rocky Mountains. And in the lower image, you can see the Morton Arboretum's work to restore threatened oak populations in Baja, Mexico. And it's worth noting that efforts like these are supported by world-class herbaria and research labs at these gardens that provide the scientific support required for successful conservation. With the amount of information and technology available today, the Botanic Garden community is poised to function together to scale up a globally coordinated safety net to prevent extinction. This includes getting all gardens to support plant conservation, increasing coordination across institutions to prevent duplication and find synergies, and building conservation capacity for the species and regions that need it the most. This approach seems to be catching on, and I'm going to show you just a few ways that BGCI is working to help get to this goal. Botanic gardens are increasingly working together in collaborative ways around the world to provide training and ensure resources, expertise, and facilities are targeted to regions of the world with the highest plant diversity but lowest capacity for plant conservation. And underpinning all of these efforts is a recognition of the value of preserving local and indigenous plant knowledge. We're also trying to quantify the scope of the plant extinction crisis. BGCI has taken on trees, and with many botanic garden partners, we are assessing all 60,000 tree species in the world. And then we can focus efforts on the most threatened species. And there's a bunch of other efforts in the Botanic Garden community, including assessments focused on cycads, cactus and succulent species, Hawaiian endemic species, and many others. And BGCI has recently launched a number of consortia that are focused on bringing together groups of gardens and experts to collaboratively implement conservation strategies for threatened species. And we've identified a few priority tree species, and we're leveraging the expertise in the garden community and bringing together hundreds of partners to focus on these species. BGCI has also partnered with the Crop Trust. It's a group in the UK to develop the Food Forever Global Exhibition. And that's to facilitate botanic gardens communicating to the public about the importance of food plants and the wild relatives of them and issues surrounding food security. And we have versions, web-based versions and on-the-ground versions available for gardens to replicate this exhibit in their gardens. Finally, I just want to give a very quick look at some of the local importance of the San Francisco Botanic Garden collection. And as Stephanie pointed out, there's over 8,000 types of plants in the gardens. And what I can see through our tools with BGCI is that there are over 300 species that are globally unique to San Francisco Botanic Garden and found nowhere else in any other garden. And that includes a lot of rhododendron species, salvia species, and begonia species. And very briefly, this is a little bit of a deep dive into a nerdy subject, but I looked and I ranked San Francisco Botanic Garden globally and in the US, and in red, you can see that there are 10 genera where 10 genus groups of plants where San Francisco Botanic Garden ranks in the top 10 in the US, and a few of them, I think 4, that rank in the top 10 globally. So that maybe that helps frame some of the global importance of San Francisco Botanic Garden's work. And I just want to finish with a little bit of a glimpse of my personal life. This is my inspiration for the future. This is my daughter, Violet. And she gets around to many gardens. I believe this is on the right, it's Santa Cruz Arboretum. And then on the left is the Botanic Garden in Berlin, Germany. And she's really what I'm working toward so that we can hand off our plant heritage and genetic resources to her generation and for generations to come. I also just wanted to mention a personal note. The theme tonight for fundraising is youth education. And my life was specifically changed through Botanic Garden education programs. And as Sarah mentioned, I was able to complete a graduate program, Longwood Gardens, and that's one example of an education program. I also benefited greatly from internship programs, a number of internship programs all over the US that really changed my career trajectory. So I just wanted to mention that, and then just thank you for your attention this evening and for your wonderful support of San Francisco Botanical Garden. And I'm available in the chat to take any questions. And now I'll turn it back over to Stephanie. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Abby, and thank you, Botanical Gardens Conservation International, for all you do. And thanks for reminding us that botanical gardens are much more than pretty places. We're also grateful to the support of BGCI for some of our conservation work on magnolias and for a new budding partnership with Kenya as we develop our Afromontane collection here at the garden. I want to now shift to a different segment of our program tonight and talk a little bit about our youth education programs. In the 15 years since Richard Liu popularized the term nature deficit disorder, an emerging body of research has demonstrated that people, and especially children, need time outdoors in nature for their health and well-being. During the pandemic, this has become even more clear. So far, every month of 2021 has brought us record-breaking visitation to the garden. And now more than ever, people of all ages, and especially children with young families, are flocking to the garden. I'm so proud of our youth education program, staff, and volunteers who have provided thousands of children and families with engaging outdoor experiences throughout the pandemic with our free Bean Sprouts Family Days, summer camp, after school, and library programs. I hope you'll enjoy this look at our youth education programs.
The Children's Garden is at the west end of the Botanical Garden and is our yes space for kids and families. During this past year, this space has been more important than ever for our community. I'm Annette Huddle, Director of Youth Education Programs here at San Francisco Botanical Garden. For the last 20 years, I've been running programs here for school groups, teachers, trying to make sure that every child in San Francisco gets a chance to experience the natural world. Since reopening the Children's Garden in July 2020 with the support of our amazing volunteers, we've been able to bring back our Bean Sprouts Family Days program, sponsored by Kaiser Permanente. We've served over 1,000 families in the past 9 months, and we've just expanded into Saturdays as well, which we hope will make the program more accessible for more families.
Hi, I'm Lisa Lynn. My family and I live in the inner sunset of San Francisco, and we have a 5-year-old son, Wesley. I've been bringing Wesley to the gardens since he was an infant. We would traverse the paths of the garden, and I would rock him to sleep in the stroller and walk for hours as he napped. As he got older, we continued to come, and it was always a really fun time, but especially coming to the Children's Garden was actually such a relief as a mother. Because it's a place where he can roam and touch and smell, likes to come to the garden, play the pine cone basketball. He likes to jump from stump to stump. He likes to look at the berries in berry season and pick one or two and pop them in his mouth. It's an experience in the city that you can't get in other places. The San Francisco Botanical Garden and the Children's Garden in particular have been such an important part of our family's lives for the past 5 or 6 years since my son was born. And during the pandemic, we realized that we really needed to recommit ourselves to the city of San Francisco and its institutions.
The Garden's youth education programs are a valuable community partner that is not only serving children and families through meaningful programs, but also leading in the environmental education community and collaborating on projects that extend their reach far beyond the garden space. The Garden's youth education programs are a critical piece of an essential network of citywide organizations working to address the disparities in nature access along socioeconomic and racial lines to ensure that all kids have the opportunity to play, learn, and grow in the outdoors. This past year alone, the youth education program, including the after-school kids, supported the assembly of 10,500 seed kits that went out to San Francisco students to bring nature and science curriculum into the home. They've also helped repurpose natural materials such as pine cones, branches, and even bamboo for nature play in family childcare homes and early childcare centers so that they can connect with nature every day.
I'm Sally Ho, and I'm a first grade teacher at West Porter Elementary, and I actually have a Chinese immersion class. And I've been bringing my students to the guided walk program since 2007. The students actually learn about plants in the classroom through books, videos, and pictures. But when they're here at the garden, they're able to use their senses. One of my students, her name is Iris, and she had actually never seen an iris before in real life. And then when she was here, she got so excited about it, seeing a real iris. So she was really happy about it.
I'm Jocelyn Magnolia Barzilay, and I'm the Director of Learning and Engagement here at San Francisco Botanical Garden. I grew up in San Francisco, born and raised, and the garden was always a special place for me and my family. I feel so fortunate to be passing my childhood connection to the garden to my own 2 children. The garden is our backyard, our dining room, sometimes even our study hall. In 2019, our first year of garden camp, we were so excited by our success and we're dreaming big about 2020. Then COVID hit. Despite the challenges presented by the pandemic, we pushed forward with Garden Camp, knowing that after a spring of sheltering in place, children and families needed this opportunity. We ran 6 weeks of camp, not too far off from our original plan of 11. As the summer came to a close and it became clear that students were not returning to school in the fall, we heard families as they asked for a school year solution. I needed to continue providing safe, fun, outdoor spaces that were the antidote to distance learning and a critical support for working parents. I could feel the desperation in others, and I recognized it in myself. The Garden After School program was created to meet these needs, providing a plant-rich environment for socio-emotional development for kids and a stable childcare solution for caregivers. One piece of the puzzle remained. Our fee-based programs presented financial barriers to some families. Our standing scholarship program wasn't able to meet community need, which is greater than ever due to the economic impacts of COVID. We need your support today to build a scholarship fund that can serve a greater number of families, in particular diverse children from neighborhoods with less access to safe outdoor space, with educational, enriching, healing time with peers in the garden.
My name is Liz, and this is Danny. The after-school program at the Botanical Garden has meant so much to us during this very difficult time. Before we found the program, we were desperate for Danny to be outdoors with his peers in a safe and inclusive environment, and the program that we found has brought that to us. It's been such a joy, and we are so grateful to have it. Please fund this for more families to enjoy it for years to come.
This year, we've seen more families than ever at the Botanical Garden, and with your support, we can continue to grow.
We're almost back to school, so please help us make the first field trip back to the garden soon.
Please help us today. We need nature for every child every day.
Wow, that was incredible. So I want to start off by thanking everybody who participated in that video, and even more importantly, to thank everybody who's been doing so much hard work for the Botanical Garden these last 15 months. As you can imagine, this is a really tricky time for a group like this, and they've just done a spectacular job keeping the programs alive, and as was mentioned, getting even more students exposed to our wonderful natural world here through their programs. So my friends, this, like I said, this is why we're here tonight. I just want everyone to imagine themselves being a kid living in the city. You know, parents are busy and working. There's a lot of kids who, if it weren't for the San Francisco Botanical Garden, would just never have an opportunity to be outside, to experience nature, to learn about biodiversity, to understand where food comes from. And this is what the Nature Center, what the Botanical Garden is doing through all their youth education programs. So at this point, I'm going to start by asking for generous donations in the amount of $10,000 down to $5,000, $2,500, $1,000, $500, $250, and all the way to $100, with the goal being that one of those amounts, one of those investments in kids, just like Iris, who had never seen an iris, is going to work for every person or every couple or every family watching here tonight. So on that note, it's so easy to donate. You can see the green donate button right there. There you go. It just popped up there. You can hit the green pledge button. Right now it says pledge $10,000. Or if you want to donate more, you can hit the the black pledge other button. I'm going to start high, work my way down, go through the levels. So at this point, is there anyone out there who's really feeling it, really wants to step in an amazing way and kick us off with a donation of $10,000? Look at that. Sarah Malone for $10,000 right there. Thank you so much. Dell Maxwell matching her at $10,000. Look at that. We are cooking towards our $250,000 goal. Look at that. Ruth Wilcox for $10,000 right there. Thank you so much, Ruth. William Prier right there at $10,000. Folks, they're rolling in. Let's keep the bidding going here. Let's keep the donating going. Anybody else want to match? I think we've had at least 4 or 5 $10,000 donors so far. You can see, my friends, the more we can donate, the more programs go out to our kids, the more we can do for youth education in the natural world for our kids in the greater San Francisco area, my friends. That's why we're here tonight, and that's why your generosity is so important. Anybody else at the $10,000 level? Again, if 10,000 is a good level, jump on in. The water is warm right here. 10,000. Fantastic. How about $5,000? Is $5,000 a good level? My friends, if 5,000 is a good level, jump on in. Again, I can see your bids coming on here. We are doing spectacularly well. We have a big overall goal that we're charging to, and I know we can get there. If 5,000 is a good level, jump on in. Again, my friends, we are truly, you know, we're helping the youth education programs of the San Francisco Botanical Garden, but what we're really doing is creating the next generation of nature lovers, conservationists, and biological scientists. My friends, there's no possible way that kids are going to care about these things if they're not exposed, right? And that's exactly what we're doing here with our youth education programs at the Botanical Garden. So again, if 5,000 is a good number, jump on in there. Again, it's so easy. You just hit the green pledge $5,000 button. You can see right there on the right side of your screen. Again, if you haven't donated yet, now would be a great chance. Thank you so much to everybody who's already donated. We can see a lot of people have already donated. And if I miss your name, I'm so sorry. They scroll through pretty quickly here. But trust me, your donation is greatly appreciated. And we appreciate that so much. So 5,000 is a good level. Jump on in, pop in your donation of 5,000. Maybe 2,500 is a good level. Again, if 2,500 is a good level, we're going to work our way all the way down, starting at the 10,000, 5,000, now 2,500. Again, my friends, if you can jump in at the $2,500 level, boy, that'd be appreciated. Look at that. Libby Patterson right there says, I'll do that. I'll jump in at the $2,500 level. Thank you, Libby. Really appreciate that. Who wants to match her at the $2,500 level? Another one would put us above our next sub goal of 260,000. Let's get there. Yes, Jennifer Peterson right there. Right there at the $2,500 level. Thanks, Jennifer. Appreciate that. Folks, we're cooking here tonight, but we're not even close to done. Let's keep the ball rolling here. Again, if $2,500 is a great level for you, boy, we'd sure appreciate it. Again, my friends, there's only one way for a lot of these kids, if they're ever going to experience, or as children, they're going to experience nature, understand where food comes from, understand life cycles and biodiversity. That's why we're here tonight. Abby said a couple really interesting things earlier in her speech, and I want folks to think about that as you're thinking about if you want to make a donation here tonight, because my friend, this is so important. This is truly, tonight's fundraising is the lifeblood of our youth education programs, and only you can help, and you can help us right now with a generous donation. Julie right there, Parrish, jumping in at the $2,500 level, putting us above 262,000. Let's keep that ball rolling. I want to hit that magic $300,000 number. Let's keep the ball rolling here. We're at the $2,500 level. Again, if that's a good level for you, jump on in. It's so easy. You just hit the green pledge $2,500 button. Maybe 1,000 is a good level for you. Again, that's always a good level for a lot of folks. I'll see that change. There we go. If the $1,000 level is a good for you, jump on in. And again, if you want to read more about what $1,000 might do, you can hit the more info button in the middle of the picture there, just on the right side of your screen. Again, look at that. Jody coming in at $1,500. Fantastic. If you have your own custom amount, you want to donate more than what I'm asking, don't let me stop you here. Jump right on in. You can hit the black pledge other button right there. Look at that. Tish right there jumping in at $1,000 and jumping in at $1,000. Thank you so much. Look at that. We're charging towards our next goal of 270,000. I know we're going to get there in just a little bit. Again, if $1,000 is a good level, jump right on in. My friends, $1,000 is truly one of my favorite levels because they really add up quickly. And yet, for a lot of folks, that's an affordable number, right? Keep in mind, I'm not an accountant, but this is a tax deductible donation that you're making here. So please donate as generously as you can. Whatever amount works for you. Our goal is participation tonight. If $1,000 is a good level, look at that. Look at all those coming in. Helen right there at $1,000. Thank you so much. Joan jumping in at $1,000. Thanks, Joan. Appreciate that. A lot of other folks jumping in at a lot of levels. Again, my friends, whatever level works for you, jump on in, make your donation now. Again, you're helping youth education. We're helping some of the most vulnerable and underserved kids here in San Francisco be exposed to nature and learn where food comes from and about biodiversity. This is so important, and only your donations are going to help tonight. We so appreciate it. Look at that. We are $12 away from our next goal of 270,000. I know we're going to get there. Again, Monica jumping in right there at $1,000. Thanks, Monica. If anybody else can jump in at the $1,000 level, please do so. Or maybe 500 is a good level for you. Again, my friends, if 500 is a good level, now is a great time to jump in at the $500 level. Again, these add up really, really quickly, but they're really affordable for a lot of folks here. Again, if you can afford that, so appreciated. $500. Look at the 500 pouring in. Paul right there with this $500 donation. Thank you. Will coming $250. Thanks for that. Again, 500 from Stan. Thanks so much, Stan, for your generous $500 donation. Again, let's match Will and Stan. Get us some more $500 donations here. We have cleared the $270,000 level, charging on our way to the next sub goal of 280. I know we're going to get there. Please continue to donate. If 500 is a good level, jump on in at 500. Still got a lot of, wow, we have north of 350 people watching here. Spectacular turnout here tonight. Folks, the goal is participation. We're hoping that one of these amounts, really what you're doing is investing in the kids here in San Francisco and the greater Bay Area. One of those amounts is going to work for you, and you can make your generosity proclaimed here tonight. Again, Dawn jumping into the $500 level. Thank you. Helen in for 500. Thank you as we rapidly approach 275,000. Again, if $500 is a good level for you, jump on in, please. Or maybe 250 is a good level for you. And I see a lot of folks have already donated their 250. So if I missed your name, if I didn't call it out, I'm so sorry. We greatly appreciate your donation here. But again, if there's anybody who hasn't donated it and is thinking, you know what, I can afford $250. Again, this is going to youth education with the San Francisco Botanical Garden. Again, my friends, we're reintegrating children into nature, building environmental empathy, developing scientific inquiry skills, so many things that are going to help them throughout their lives. For so many kids, a lot of them underserved who, frankly, would just never have these opportunities if it weren't for youth education programs at the San Francisco Botanical Garden. So, my friends, if 250 is a good level, look at all those 250s there. Julie jumping in at 250. Thank you. David in at 250. Thank you. Ron jumping in at 250. Thank you. Goodscapes Incorporated jumping in at 250. Elisa jumping in at 250. Sheila jumping in at 250. Wow, 250 is a great level. Jessa jumping in at 250. You can see how huge these donations are and what kind of numbers they add up to. We're almost at 275. If we get 3 more of these, we'll pass our $275,000 goal. Brandon says, I'm in for 250. Renata right there in for 250. Kim said yes to 250. Thanks so much, Kim. My friends, 250 seems to be a great level. We'll keep this going for just a little longer here. I got my eye on the clock there. We're right on time, but you don't want to wait. If 250 is a good level, jump on in. Abby made one comment in her keynote speech here. She said that her life changed by Botanic Garden education programs. That really stuck out, and I think there's going to be a lot of kids who you'll never meet and will probably never meet you, but their lives are going to change by our youth education programs here at the San Francisco Botanical Garden. Your help is what's going to make that happen here tonight. Look at all the 250s pouring in. Patricia at 250. Thank you. Karen in at 250. Thank you so much. All right, my friends, if 250 is a good level for you, jump on in. But our last level we're going to ask for here tonight, our last level, and we are going for 100% participation, is the $100 level. I know a lot of you already donated at the $100 level. Thank you so much to those of you who haven't. And again, my apologies if I wasn't able to read your name. Moira jumping in at 500. Thanks, Moira. Wow, look at the hundreds pouring in. Lynn at 100 right there. Dieter at 100. Thank you. Becca, right on. Thank you at $100. Who else wants to jump in? Match all our friends here at the $100 level. This is why we're here. Arguably one of the most important parts of our evening. And I guarantee you the most important thing you're going to do all week here is donate to our youth education funds. Look at all the hundreds pouring in right there. Lainey right there. Thanks so much. Susan right there. Jeanette right there. Luz right there. Thank you. Jumping in at the $100 level. Folks, we are rocking almost to our next sub goal of 280,000. I know we're going to get there. If anybody else can jump in at the $100 level, now's the time. Actually, you know what? I want to make this even more fun. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a little game now. This game, you might have seen it elsewhere. It's called the Last Bidder Game. Here's how it works. We're going to continue to bid. Let's put that up there. There we go. You see it right there. We're going to continue our bidding at the $100 level for now. And the last person to make a donation at the $100 level gets a spectacular prize. Let me tell you about it. Our prize tonight, you get 2 San Francisco Giants tickets, field club level. Pick your game, a few restrictions, but basically get to pick up from many different games. And by the way, how fun does it sound to get back to going and seeing a game, a professional sports game? That's just going to be the best. You can win 2 tickets to a Giants game, but we're also going to sweeten that up with an additional 4 tickets to a Warriors game, lower bowl, section 124, right in the corner there, row 19, nice and close, $650 value for that. So this is over $1,000 value, probably about a $1,200 value for both sets of tickets. That is going to our last donor who donates in our at $100 or more in our special appeal here tonight. So right now, looks like we've had bids from Robert and Heather, Tony, Ryan right now. So right now, Ryan is our last bidder if nobody else donates. So once again, every time you donate, you're committing to that donation, right? So if you hit the green pledge $100 button, You're committing to that donation, whether you win or not. But I'm telling you, our last donor here tonight, you're going to the 2 seats to the Giants and 4 great seats to the Warriors. You're going to have the time of your life watching these games. And how fun is it going to be to be back there? So right now, it looks like Lauren Friels has come back in as our last donor here. But thank you to Sarah, Martha, Jane, and now again, by the way, you can donate as many times as you want, but every time you punch the green button, that's another donation that you're making. So please keep that in mind. And again, every time you hit it, you're going to be expected to fulfill your obligation, right? Make that donation. But again, the last donor, you get Giants tickets and Warriors tickets over a $1,200 value. All right, I'm seeing the time's coming up here, so we got to be wrapping this up. We're going to be closing this down in 5. Again, last bidder takes the Giants tickets, the 2 Giants tickets, and the 4 Warriors tickets. 4, 3, 2. Right now, last donor is Jane. Anybody else going in 2, 1? Last call. Oh, look at all. Wow. Looks like we had a lot of donations right there. I can't even read that fast, but there are a lot. Right now, it's Karen, looks like, is our last donor up, except Sarah just took it away. Again, every time you punch the green button, look at that, friends. We hit our 280 goal. Let's keep charging on to 290. I can feel it right now. Emma is right now our last donor at the $100 level. If anybody else wants to donate, again, every time you donate, I'm going to be wrapping this up shortly here. I just got a teeny bit of time left. Every time you donate, you're committing to that donation, right? Except the last donor is going to take away the 2 Giants tickets and the 4 Warriors tickets. Great seats, a lot of choice on what games you want to go to. All right, so let's get this wrapped up. Right now, our last donor is Sarah Ryan. She's going home with the tickets. If nobody else donates, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last. Oh, Sandra's right in there, Emma, and then Sandra's right in there. Folks, we got another onslaught coming in. Sandra's in, then Chris just came in. My friends, you're going to be sitting home alone watching reruns of Magnum PI, eating your Hungry Man lasagna and drinking that pink stuff that we all know we have in our fridge, right? You're going to be wishing you were at a Warriors game and a Giants game if you're not donating here. So let's get the donations in here. Chris looks like he's our last donor. You know what? I think we need to make this even more interesting because the bids are pouring in. This might go on forever, and I'm seeing my time is just about up here. I want to be respectful of your time. We're trying to come in right about an hour here. Got about just a couple minutes left because we got a few more things to say at the end. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bump up our pledge amount to $250. Ooh, all right. So our last donor to come in at the $250 level or more is going to go home with the tickets. Sorry, my friends, I had to do that because otherwise we'd be here forever. But anyway, our last donor here tonight at the $250 level or more is going to go home. Or if nobody donates $250, Chris, so my friend, you're going home with the tickets. All right, let's close this out. Again, we're going to be closing this out. I've got about less than a minute left. We're going to close this out in 5. For Emma right there, back in at the $250 level. Thank you. Remember, every time you donate, you're committing to that donation. Even if you've already donated, all the donations count. You're committing to that donation, whether you win or not. But our last donor here tonight is going to, look at that, Kathy jumping in at $2,500. Nicely done, Kathy. Way to make your mark here. Kathy jumping in. She's currently our last donor. We're going to be closing this up unless somebody else bids $250 or more in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last call, and I'm going to say, oh, right there. Moira jumped in, but Moira, it's got to be $250 or more right now. So Kathy is our last. Oh, except Karen just jumped in at the $250 level. Thanks, Karen. Karen's going to be our last donor unless someone else jumps in. And 5, 4, I got to wrap this up. 3, 2, 1. Last call, and I'm going to say, sold it right there. Congratulations. Who got in? Someone might have got in under the wire. Let's see who the winner is. Chris came back in. Chris So got in just under the wire. Chris, congratulations. You're our winner of the sports tickets. Chris So, you're going to see the Giants and the Warriors. And my friends, that wraps up the fundraising portion of our evening. Look at that. We hit $285,000. Our goal was $250. My friends, we could not have done this without all of you. But that doesn't mean you have to stop. Feel free. We're going to keep the green donate button up. So continue to donate if you'd like. And most importantly, my friends, whatever you do, don't forget to check out. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, you've got the pledge card, just like Amazon. When you're ready to go, you just click that card, check out. It's so easy. And we really, really appreciate all of you joining us here tonight. We can't wait to see you back in the room. Hopefully another luncheon again next year, like we've done in the past. My name is Keith McLean, KLM Auctions. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to event co-chair Carla McKay. Carla, take us out of here.
Thank you, Keith. Oh my God, that gets me so excited. I can't wait to be back in the celebration garden with you, bidding myself. So I love that guy. Hey everyone, I'm Carla McKay, Garden Feast co-chair and San Francisco Botanical Garden board member. What an amazing audience we have tonight. We have people signed in from around the country, and I love that. We're thrilled that you joined us. Thank you so much for supporting the garden, our youth education programs. Just to see all those donations come in it gives me chills. I want to give a special shout out to my co-chair, Sarah, our amazing event committee, and our sponsors, First Republic Bank, KPMG, Northern Trust, Marigold, whose flowers I have behind me, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Symphony. But I am super excited to announce, but wait, there's more. As a bonus, we are bringing back Flower Piano this fall. Yes, that's right, live. September 17th through the 19th in our beautiful botanical garden. After 5 years of a live flower piano last year, because of COVID, we had to cancel it, but it's coming back in person this fall. And for those of you that haven't experienced it, and for those of you that have, imagine grand pianos placed all over the garden, inviting you to experience different music in each section. It is amazing. So after a very long year in 2020, I am looking forward to getting back to live events. We can't wait to welcome you back to Flower Piano in September. Thank you so much, everyone. Really, I have goosebumps from watching this program, and I can't wait to see you back in the garden. Thank you.
All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Yeah.